who you are now gets defined, first of all, by what you have. And so you start having an ambition about, from very early in your life. It starts with your toys and the stuff that is yours and so on. And then it goes to your, your various possessions and your bank account and all of this kind of thing. So in at the very beginning in this ambition stage, you are taught that you are what you have, what you accumulate, what you collect, what you get to, what you own, and it's yours. And therefore, the lessons become the more that I have, the better person that I am. And so, and the more valuable the stuff that I have is, the more that it costs, makes me even more important, or much better than, as we say over here in Hawaii, mo better. We're mo better. So we spend a lot of our energy, a lot of our time, a lot of our work and our thoughts on how much stuff can I get? How much can I accumulate? And the problem that comes up with this is that if you believe that you are what you have, if you really believe that, and that's pretty much what we're taught, then when you don't have, or when you lose it, or when it's taken away from you, or when it gets old, or when someone steals it, or whatever it might be, whatever this stuff is that you have, and that's who you are, and it's no longer there. And what we learn when we study the Tao is that everything is cyclical. Things come in and then they leave. Things come in, and it's true in our lives as well. There are periods of great affluence and great abundance. The stuff will come into our life, and then it will dissolve and disappear and go someplace else, and then something else will. And the cyclical nature of everything in the universe is that it's up and then it's down, and that built into every storm is calmness and so on. So we have almost like a dilemma. If I am what I have, then when I don't, I'm not. I start to get really terrified. I start to get really scared when I don't have as much stuff as I want to have, or when other people have more stuff. So we spend a lot of our energy comparing ourselves to what other people have and so on. So that's the first lesson of the ego. Another aspect of what we learn in this ambition stage of our life is that the ego says, I am not only what I have, but I am what I do. So now it's all about achievement. And this is really huge in the whole ambition thing. So that the more that I do, the more that I achieve, the more awards that I get, the higher that I go on my educational pursuits, the more degrees that I have. All of these kinds of things, getting ahead of the next guy, the whole corporate ladder business, that we train young children in school, and we train them in our schools also. We train them, that what you do is, you have to compare yourself to how other people are doing. So you're in a classroom of 30 kids, and there's the ones who do the best on their exams and so on, get their gold stars, and when they're in the early grades, they get them all posted on the board. And when they get a little bit higher, they get into the National Honor Society, and they have, and they get more awards and so on. And there's this continuous emphasis on becoming more and more and more ambitious in your life, and not only accumulating a lot of stuff, but getting a lot of merit badges behind you. And these merit badges, come in the form of trophies, and they come in the form of all kinds of award letters and things like that. the problem with this for all of us is that if you are what you do, then when you don't, you aren't. So if you now can't, let's say you have an accident and you get hurt, or you get dismissed from the job that you're in, or somebody else gets it and you don't. I mean, there's an endless number of possibilities, all of which everybody watching has experienced in their life at one time or another. That you get to do and then you don't get to do, and so on. One of the real problems in our society is that people get to a certain age and they can't do at the same level as someone younger than them is able to do. Then that's when they have thoughts of depression and anxiety and worry and fear, and they go off to, they find themselves swallowing a lot of medication and so on just to deal with that. And suicide rates really go way up as people get into their 50s and 60s and realize that they can't do what somebody else behind them is doing, or that you get left behind. But if you are believing that you are what you do and you don't understand this and so on, then, it all passes you by, you see. So ambition has its real upside for a while, but it always ultimately has the downside. And the downside always is that I'm not going to always be able to do what I'm doing now, or at the level that I'm doing it now, or some change is going to come along and I'm going to be required to move into another direction, but I don't know how to do that because I only know how to do this, and that's who I am. This is who I am. You hear people saying that, but this is who I am. This is the only way I know how to be. So that's the second aspect of the ego, with ambition, is that we are taught this, and this isn't just a mild kind of influence that's on young people when they're. This is it's almost like a conspiracy. I mean, it's that big where that it's impossible to escape this whole plunging you into this world of ambition and having to believe that I have to accumulate more and I have to be ahead of the other guy. This is what competition comes from. This is winning. This is, all you have to do is watch a bunch of young people as they're at a football game, and it's like, how they're all doing this, right? All doing this. And what does this mean? We're number one. We're number one. We're number one. Everybody out there has to be number one. We have to compete. We have to be better than somebody else. We have to accomplish and so on. And when we don't, we're depressed and we're hurt and we're, and full of anguish, and we have riots and all kinds of craziness, all on this business of ambition. Then the third aspect of ambition and taking on the ego is the belief now that not only am I what I have and what I do, but I also become what other people think of me. So my reputation becomes something really, really important. And young people, we call this peer pressure. We call this the time in a young person's life when what other people think of them is really very important. So we go around and we're taught, as young people, that it's important to get along, it's important to fit in, it's important that other people like you, it's important for you to realize that if you're not liked by your friends, you're not going to be very happy, you're not going to get the things that you want for yourself in your life. And so now we've taken this little beautiful creature who just showed up from a microscopic dot, and everything was handled for it and it was doing nothing. It was just being done. And we've imposed three really harsh kinds of requirements on this person. Forget all of this. Forget this little bundle of perfection, that was created by God and is a piece of God. And let's set it over here and let's create a new one and make it believe that it has to accomplish, it has to accumulate, and it has to win the approval of other people. Now, what I have learned over the years is that if someone, I gave a seminar not too long ago, and someone wrote me a letter and said, the seminar did not live up to my expectations, okay? And was sort of complaining about whatever that was. And I got thinking about that, like how would, there were 1,000 people at the seminar, and how, if I have 1,000 people who come to my seminar, all with expectations, how in the world am I going to deliver a seminar and meet everybody else's expectations out there? How is it possible to do that? You can't focus, you can't go out there in front of an audience, you can't perform, you can't do anything in that focused on whether you're going to be approved of or liked or accepted by all of the people that are out there. One of the things that you discover and you learn is that you have to become independent of the good opinion of other people. And as I've told each one of my children as they were growing up, I'm not focused on whether people like you or don't like you. You can't be responsible for that. In fact, you should forget about your reputation. It's a meaningless construct because it doesn't exist within you. You don't have a reputation that is going to be something that you can hang on to and use wherever you go. If you give a talk to 1,000 people, you got 1,000 reputations. I mean, will they walk out and you'll ask them, what was it about, or did you like it at all? And you get 1,000 different responses. That's the way the world is. And the greatest political landslide in American history, I think it was Mondale and Reagan. I think that's what it was. It was, they said it was just a disaster for Mondale because he lost. 45% of the people voted for Walter Mondale for president. 45%. So when you get half the people plus a few percentage points, you got a landslide. So you're looking for, landslides are half the people plus one or two, and you're doing great, But all the people, everybody that you meet, trying to please everybody out there all the time. So it would seem to me that a person who is focused on who they are, rather than on what other people's expectations are, would be someone who wouldn't at all be concerned about, what other people think of them, what their reputation is, and so on. So those three things are the real guts of ambition.